Am I the asshole? Family betrayal. I exposed my sister's lies. Now everything's falling apart. I 32 female feel sick even writing this, but I need to know if I went too far. So my sister, 27 female, we'll call her Emma, has always been the golden child in our family. She's the baby, the one who could do no wrong. For the past year or so, she's been telling our parents that she's struggling with medical bills and needs help financially. She's always so vague about it, she'll say things like, "Oh, my insurance doesn't cover this specialist," or "I need this medication that costs hundreds of dollars every month." And of course, my parents always give her money. They're retired now and living on a pretty tight budget, but they love us and would do anything to help. Here's the thing though. Emma doesn't look like someone drowning in medical debt. She's constantly posting pictures online, not where our parents can see them, of course, of herself at fancy restaurants, wearing designer clothes, and even going on vacations. I tried to brush it off for the longest time because maybe she's just treating herself despite being stressed out. But the more I thought about it, the more it just didn't add up. Last week, I ran into one of her friends at a coffee shop. We started chatting, and out of nowhere, this friend was like, "Wow, Emma's life seems so amazing lately. I wish I could afford half the stuff she buys." She even mentioned Emma's plans to go to Europe in the spring. I was like, "What?" Because my sister had just told my mom she needed $2,000 for some medical test. After that, I couldn't let it go. I checked her social media, and it was all there: designer bags, nights out, receipts from luxury stores, even photos from a spa weekend. There wasn't a single hint of anything remotely related to medical problems. I confronted her when we were alone, and she tried to deny it at first. But when I pushed harder, she finally admitted it. She laughed and said, "It's not like they can't afford it. Besides, I deserve to live a little. They'd just waste that money anyway." That was the moment I saw red. I went straight to our parents. I showed them the photos, all of it. My mom was devastated. She actually started crying, and my dad looked so heartbroken. They'd been sacrificing for her, even dipping into their retirement savings. My dad said something like, "I thought we were helping her stay alive." It absolutely crushed me. Emma, of course, found out what I did. She's been blowing up my phone with texts calling me a jealous bitch and saying I've ruined her relationship with our parents. She's also been telling mutual friends that I'm vindictive and just looking for a reason to take her down. A few friends have even said I should have handled it differently, like talking to her first, or minding my own business. But how could I just let her keep lying and draining our parents dry? They're not rich, they're retired. What if they'd run out of money because of her? Now the whole family's a mess. Emma isn't speaking to any of us, and my parents are heartbroken. Part of me wonders if I went too far by exposing her like that, but I felt like they deserved to know the truth. The fallout from all of this has been overwhelming, and I'm starting to feel like I made a huge mistake. I never imagined things would escalate this far. I thought that by telling our parents the truth, I was protecting them from Emma's manipulation, but now it feels like I've set off a chain of events that I can't control. The days after I confronted Emma were absolute chaos. She's been silent towards me for the most part, but every time I check my phone, I'm bombarded with messages from her. She's calling me everything from a betrayer to a self-righteous hypocrite. She even went as far as to say that I ruined her life and that our parents will never look at her the same way again. I'm not going to lie. It stings. Part of me wants to apologize to her, to undo the hurt, but deep down I know I had to do what I did. Still, I can't ignore the pain in my own heart seeing how deeply this has affected everyone, especially our parents. After the confrontation, I stayed with my parents for a few days to help them process everything. They were devastated, emotionally drained. My mom couldn't stop crying for days, and it broke me seeing her that way. She kept saying, "How could Emma do this to us? We've given her everything we could, and this is how she repays us? My dad, usually so stoic, looked as if he had aged 10 years in a matter of days. It was clear they were heartbroken, not just because of the lies, but because of the betrayal they felt from the daughter they had always supported so unconditionally. The hardest part for me was knowing that even though I exposed Emma, I was indirectly causing pain to the people I love the most. I didn't want to tear the family apart, but that's exactly what seems to be happening. Emma hasn't spoken to any of us since the confrontation, and I'm starting to wonder if this divide will ever heal. But what really gets to me is how Emma's response continues to be so cold. She's posted more pictures of her extravagant lifestyle on social media, rubbing salt into the wound. I keep seeing her smiling in front of expensive cars, attending fancy dinners, and even taking vacations that our parents could never afford to go on. It's like she's mocking the situation, and I feel so angry about it. Her friends have rallied around her, of course. Some have been sending me messages claiming that I've done something unforgivable. A few have even implied that Emma was only asking for help because she didn't want our parents to worry. That somehow this was all a misunderstanding, but I know better. This isn't a mistake. This was deliberate. She manipulated our parents' love and trust for her own benefit, and it's hard to fathom why she'd do that when she has everything at her disposal. Even though it seems like Emma is thriving, I can't help but wonder if deep down she feels guilty. Her posts online seem to scream confidence, but is it all just a facade? Is she pretending to be okay because she's too proud to admit that she's wrong? I don't know. What I do know is that I'm no longer willing to sit back and let her take advantage of our parents. They deserve better, and if exposing her was the only way to open their eyes, then so be it. The hardest part is knowing that things will never be the same between us. I've always been the one who tried to keep the peace, who stepped back and let Emma take center stage. But I was tired of watching her manipulate everyone and this time, I refused to stay quiet. Now I feel like I'm stuck in the middle of a family I once loved and cherished, and I don't know how to fix it. I miss the days when things were simple, when we laughed and supported each other. It feels like that's all gone now, replaced by this overwhelming tension. I'm left wondering if this was the right thing to do. Did I go too far by exposing Emma's lies? Was there another way I could have handled this? But more than anything, I'm heartbroken. Heartbroken for my parents, heartbroken for the relationship that's been ruined, and heartbroken for Emma, who might never see how much we all cared for her. The family dynamic has been forever altered, and I fear we'll never fully recover from this. I wish I could take it all back, but I can't. All I can do now is wait, hope for healing, and learn to live with the consequences of my decision. As much as I wanted to protect our parents, I can't ignore the fact that in doing so, I might have destroyed something even more precious, our family. After everything blew up, I wasn't the only one who felt the consequences. Emma, my sister, responded in a way that I honestly didn't expect. When I first confronted her, she seemed dismissive, almost amused by the whole thing, as though she thought she could talk her way out of it. But the more I pushed, the more I could see the cracks in her armor. Once she realized I wasn't going to back down, her reaction shifted, and it was nothing short of explosive. She didn't just get mad. She went into full attack mode. The texts started coming in fast, and they were brutal. At first, it was the usual insults. She called me petty, vindictive, and even pathetic. But soon, it escalated. She told me I was jealous, and that I had always hated her. She said I was ruining her life and making everything about me, and that she would never forgive me for this. I tried to respond, but every message she sent was more venomous than the last. It was clear that she was hurt, but I couldn't help but feel that most of her anger was rooted in guilt and shame. She wasn't just mad at me for exposing her. She was angry because she had been caught. And deep down, I think she knew that. I wasn't the only one to blame. She had been lying to our parents for months, taking money under false pretenses, and now everything was coming out into the open. But Emma wasn't ready to face the consequences. Instead, she doubled down, telling everyone, mutual friends, even distant relatives, that I was the villain in this situation. She made sure to paint herself as the innocent victim who was being attacked by her own family. She posted on social media, claiming that I had ruined her relationship with our parents and that I had tried to tear the family apart. She even posted some exaggerated version of events where she made it seem like I was the one who had been taking advantage of our parents all along, not her. It was hard for me to watch. I couldn't believe that after everything, she was still playing the victim. She was convincing, too. Some of our mutual friends even believed her version of events, and that hurt. How could they not see through the lies? How could they not see the way she was manipulating them just as she had manipulated our parents? The worst part was when Emma started telling people that I was jealous of her life. She had always been the one to get away with things, always the one who received more praise and attention. It felt like she was trying to flip the narrative, making it seem like my exposing her was just a result of some deep-seated envy. But what really stung was how she treated our parents. She had already spun a story to them, telling them that I was trying to ruin her, and when they asked her to explain herself, she was so smooth. She apologized to them, but it wasn't an apology. It was a well-rehearsed performance. She said she was sorry for causing them stress, but quickly added that it was all my fault for overreacting and overexposing things. I could see that it had a confusing effect on our parents. On one hand, they were still so hurt by the betrayal, but Emma's sweet-talking and charm seemed to hold some power over them. There were moments when I felt like they might start questioning my actions too, like they were second-guessing whether they had been wrong to trust me over her. Eventually, Emma stopped speaking to me altogether. She shut me out of her life completely, which honestly wasn't a huge loss in my eyes. But as the days turned into weeks, it became clear that things were getting worse. She stopped attending family gatherings, and our family was left in pieces. At one point, I even tried reaching out to her. I sent a message explaining how much I loved her and how much I regretted that things had come to this. I told her that I wished we could move past it, but her response was harsh. She told me I was pathetic for trying to make peace when everyone knew I was the one who had ruined everything. She said she didn't want to hear from me ever again. It was heartbreaking, and I felt like I had lost her for good. Even though I knew I did the right thing by exposing her lies, a part of me still wished there was a way we could fix things. I didn't want to lose my sister, but it felt like the damage was irreversible. Now, the distance between us feels like a chasm that I can't cross. Our relationship, the bond we once had, feels like it's been shattered beyond repair. I can't say I'm proud of the way things turned out. I didn't want to be the one to break the family apart, but I couldn't stand by and watch my parents be taken advantage of any longer. Emma's response just confirmed to me that she wasn't going to change. She wasn't going to take responsibility for her actions. It was like she had no remorse, no sense of guilt, and that's what hurts the most. I have to accept that she's not the person I thought she was. She's made her choices, and now I have to make peace with the fact that our relationship may never be the same. Family dynamics are fragile, and I've learned that sometimes the truth doesn't bring healing. It brings division. As much as I want things to go back to the way they were, I'm slowly realizing that it's not always possible to fix what's broken. And in this case, it might be too late for that. For more interesting videos, please subscribe and tell me what aspect should I do more. Thanks for watching. See ya!